Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Made Pramilaga with name 1912021142 from 6C class. Today, I want to present my topic with the title An Analysis of Student Anxiety in English Speaking Class at Vocational School PGRI DENPASAR for Grade 11. There are three parts. First, the chapter 1, we have discussed the background, the reason why I choose the topic. And in chapter 2, the empirical review, and the chapter 3 is the research design, collecting data, and etc. In the chapter 1, the research background. Speaking skill is the most important aspect to be learned by students in learning English. Of course, the learning that is carried out is not only based on theory and explanation from the teacher, but also on practice is carried out by students, namely speaking practice. By practicing speaking, the students can see and assess the extent to which students understand or master English. Students' understanding of English can be judged by their speaking. Usually, students who can practice their speaking will tend to be more fluent in speaking, especially speaking sentences in English. However, there are still many students who feel that speaking English is a difficult thing to do. Several factors cause students to find it difficult to speak in English, such as their understanding of grammar and vocabulary which they still don't understand, which triggers their insecurities to appear so that they feel anxious because they feel unable to speak English. According to LCM in 2014 in page 2, anxiety in school can affect the learning performance of students. It states that children who feel especially excessive anxiety tend to have low academic achievements, and children with this anxiety disorder are often found to experience as a crisis, of self-confidence. If it lasts in the long term, this will affect the working memory of students who will decrease. At the PGRI DENPASAR Vocational School itself, after previously conducting research related to the English learning process carried out, students tend to be passive, and especially when they do not understand the material explained during the question and answer session, students will choose not to express their opinions, and it is very difficult to find students who are independent to be more active without previously being appointed by the teacher who teach. Because of this factor, researchers are interested in researching related factors that cause speaking anxiety in English class at Vocational PGRI DENPASAR at the level of grade 2 students. Problem statement. Based on the background above, the researcher formulated a research question as follows. What are the factors that cause feelings of anxiety in English speaking class? Next, the objective of the research. Based on research question, the purpose of the study is to find the factor that cause feeling of anxiety in English speaking class. Significance of the research. From the result of this study, it is hoped that it can support information about the factor that influence anxiety in English speaking class. This research is also expected to be useful for teachers to be able to classify students in English speaking class. And for the scope of the research, in this research, the researcher focused on the factor that cause students anxiety in English class. Researchers will try to find out and analyze how to feel anxiety in speaking in class. There are two influencing factors as internal and external factor because they are considered to interfere with improving students' performance in speaking English. The study was conducted using the observation method students and parents in English class. Next, for the chapter 2, the empirical review. In this chapter, I have explained about definition of speaking. Definition of the speaking has several definitions drawn from several sources. Quote from Nunan in 2015, speaking is the act of someone talking about something or new things, written in his book. Related to speaking, which is divided into two. The first is reproductive speaking and creative speaking. Next, the importance of the speaking. Afriza in 2012 states that speaking is an important factor in interaction between humans because every day, every human being anywhere will definitely be involved with this aspect of speaking. Next, anxiety. I have explained about definition of anxiety. Diao Zipping and Shyamala Paramasivan in 2013 state that anxiety is a real factor that can inhibit students' activity, which has an influence on achievements and can reduce students' activity in learning activities. For example, students tend to be passive and less likely to participate during learning. Next, the factor of anxiety. There are three anxiety factors I found as mentioned in Darajat Juwita's journal in 2008. First, the emergence of anxiety in a person is caused by the factor of seeing and knowing the danger that can have an impact on them. Second, anxiety can be categorized as a disease and manifests itself in several forms, which are not related to fear having an effect on itself. Third, anxiety is caused by mistakes made either intentionally or unintentionally, and there is a conflict in them due to the mistake cause. The source of anxiety. There are two sources of anxiety, internal and external. Linder in Basri mentions internal source originating from individual factors such as lack of self-confidence, feeling guilty, and etc. Next, the speaking anxiety. I have explained about definition of speaking anxiety. Oshipinishi 2009 in his research found that language class provide a traumatic experience that cause fear, and the experience of students speaking in front of the class gives a high perception of risk but low benefits. The definition there are the component of speaking anxiety. First, communication concern. Someone who has had experience in oral communication, students will have difficulty speaking and avoiding to be actively involved or avoiding being involved in verbal communication. In learning, allow other students to be active and choose not to try to engage in oral communication. Test anxiety. Oshipinishi 2009 states that the level of anxiety on a high anxiety test has a decreasing effect on students' performance. Fear of negative evaluation. Students will avoid being actively involved in learning and speaking in class to avoid making mistakes. Tend to be students in the passive group, so the sense of initiative in students is also reduced in students who have a passive nature. So because my topic is about anxiety, I have explained more about the definition about anxiety, the factor, the source, and the speaking anxiety itself. And I have explained more about definition of speaking and the importance of speaking. Next, in chapter 3 is a research design. The researcher used a qualitative descriptive study because the researcher found data in the field related to the fact of speaking anxious students in English class. Descriptive research deals with what are found in the field or finding its connection with previous events that have an impact or have an effect on the current condition when doing research. The location and time of research. So this research was conducted in class 11 SMKS Grade 2 Denpasar, Vocational Grade 2 Denpasar. The subject and the object of the research. So the subject of this study were students of class 11 Vocational Grade 2 Denpasar, with the object of the research being the anxiety of students in class when speaking in English lessons. The population and the sample of the research. So the population of Vocational Grade 2 Denpasar in class 11, there are 5 classrooms with the number of each students in each class of 36 students. The total number of students in class 11 is 180 students. Due to the relatively large population, the researcher used cluster random sampling. So the advantage of using cluster random sampling is that it can save time because it is not possible to take individual samples at random. So with later, researcher will use one as the object of research. The technique of collecting data, in order to obtain valid data, the researchers use a questionnaire which was used to collect data in investigating student anxiety in speaking during English class. In addition to the questionnaire, interviewers were also conducted to increase the validity of data. So next is, okay, that's all presentation about my topic today. Thank you all. And if you have any suggestion or opinion from my present today, you can just write down on the comment section below. Thank you.